In this video, we're going to learn about setting up the API for OpenAI, Anthropic, and Gemini artificial intelligences within VMAM. We'll start. The setup is basically similar to email configuration, however, with a few additional items. In this upper section is where we configure the variables for input, and in the lower section is where we configure the frames that will be analyzed. When we select here, we can see that the information and data from the AI window active. We'll start the setup from the beginning, just like we set up. Let's open camera 1 here. Inside camera 1, we can see that there's already a drawn ROI. There's a data pre-processing, where when a person enters this region, the result 1 of object 1 will be 1. And this data must be transmitted to the main module. How is the data transmitted to the main module? Through the transmission module of each camera. When we click, we must activate the DB file transmission module. And we must activate the DB image transmission module. Here we select the image refresh rate at, in our case, every 250 milliseconds an image will be stored, meaning 4 images per second here. We have the horizontal size of the image and the vertical size of the image, and here I have the maximum number of frames stored. I activate the region drawing for the drawing we made here to go along with the image, and we start. As we can see, the output is R1 when there's a person here. In this case, it's positive. The person was here as there's a certain time here. It will hold the output for 5 seconds. Reset to 0. The output we're analyzing there corresponds to this output. Set in variable 3. We already have the setup, meaning if a person enters this region, the values will be transmitted to the main module. We'll minimize here and enter the main module in the main module. Before we activate the analysis, we'll select the camera. In our case, camera 1. We'll select variable 3. The update rate at which it will read the camera's DB file, in our case, will be every 200 milliseconds. The result isn't showing yet because I haven't activated it. Once I activate it, it starts reading the result from variable 3, and the result from variable 3 will show. Here in our case, 0 or 1, if the result value equals 1. My output will be 1. If my output is 1 and I've marked artificial intelligence with the email. First, the artificial intelligence will read the output. It will analyze the images and decide whether to send the email or not. If I have it selected, only the email when my output value is 1. The email is sent directly with the images I've selected. If I leave only the artificial intelligence without the email, the artificial intelligence will analyze the images and send the data. Description. If the value is positive or not from my question through transmission like. For example, OPCUA, Modbus if it's numbers or archive within files, CSV files. For our case, we will select email sent only after the AI analyzes this. Option. This value is crucial because it needs to be greater than 10 seconds. We recommend a minimum of 10 seconds because it will hold output 1 for 10 seconds if it's positive. And during this positive output, the API can be analyzed in time and sent back to VMOM if this value here is too low, like 1 second. There might not be enough time for the AI via API to return the message to the app. So we recommend using 10 seconds. Here we have a system pause time, meaning if my output value is 1 and it returned to 0, it will only return to 1 after my 10 seconds of. So my variable here can be equal to the value I selected here several times. It won't work. It will only work after the 10 seconds of rest that I selected here. For our case, we'll set 10 seconds for both. We'll select the analyses that the AI will analyze, and that will be attached to the email. In our case, it will be frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The frame with the smaller number is always the newest frame. The larger number is the oldest. As we observed that in the camera mode, we selected here every 250 milliseconds. So the time gap between each of these frames is 250 milliseconds, totaling here a history of up to 2 seconds prior. Put simply, we're providing here 8 images from the previous 2 seconds so the AI can analyze and attach them to the email. Here we have the button to check if we're reading the files. The image file, in this case, we have 20 images that we configured. Also, here in the transmission, to store 20 images. And here we select to attach the images to the email. To configure the API, we must select which API. We want to use OpenAI, Gemini, or Anthropic. In our case, we'll select OpenAI. The API should be entered in this field. After identifying the API, we click the search button. When searching, the model list is updated with all the AI models we selected, remembering at this point that we must always select models that can analyze images if otherwise the image won't be analyzed. For our case, let's select a newer model, GPT 5.2. Right below, we have the logical question. The logical question always requires the answer to be yes or no. The question can be complex, but the answer must be yes or no. For us, if the operator enters that region, we're asking the AI if the operator is wearing if. The operator is not wearing PPE. Is the collaborator missing PPE? If the answer is yes, it will analyze. And here we have the written question. This question is the one that will be attached to the email and will be answered with more complexity. For example, we're asking here, which PPEs are missing for the employee? And describe where they are in the image. The answer to this question will be sent to this output. And this output can be sent via OPC-UA, via API, or via CSV file, as configured. And in our case here in our test, it will be sent attached to the email. This way, we can start the tests. Let's open the Camera 1 module here and wait for the person to leave the area for now. So we can start the tests after the result is reset. Then the output will be negative. After 5 seconds of safety time, in this case, it turned negative at this moment. We'll wait for them to return to this position to activate here again. In parallel, we'll start our test using this button when we press this button. The result variable here will start being read and updated here. If it is 1, my output value here will be updated and my questions to the artificial intelligence will be executed. If it's confirmed, it will be sent via email as we configured earlier. We'll wait. A few more moments. Soon, the operator will be in front of the selected ROI. The operator stepped in front. The result was read as 1 positive. As you see, the AI read and responded down here. These values here can be transmitted via OPCUA, CSV, or API, as mentioned. And in turn were sent by email. How do we confirm this? Through the log file we can see here. An email was sent. The AI's response was yes. Where we have the record of each AI usage. Or the error log in case errors occur, like down here in other tests there were some issues. And these errors can be resolved, like in this case here, where the API returned. Lacking credits for execution so that it works. Let's close the log file. Let's check the email that was sent. I'll update the email inbox here, where I can see the AI's response. The person isn't wearing a safety helmet or eye protection. She is on an elevated platform next to a large industrial paper mill machine. Attached here are the last 8 frames as we selected. Remember that the next analysis can only be done after 10 seconds of pause. This way, as we can see, we can ask highly complex questions in logic or in the image description. We can attach questions such as is the person drowning in the pool? Analyze this image sequence. Are people fighting in this image sequence?
Analyze this image sequence.
It seems like the person is stealing something. In other words, we can send emails and notify through data transmission. The AI response, as we can see here again, probably. The operator entered the ROI again here. It was analyzed again, and the result was positive. And the analysis was executed again. Here. And the email was sent again. Here. This is how the AI module works through the API.